Hey everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys today? I am so excited to be with you. I am bringing to you another stamp set. This one is called In the Moment, and I'll be doing quite a few videos with it. So definitely check it out. It is a really beautiful stamp set. This one reminds me of my daughter JoJo, and definitely close to my heart because of that. We're going to be using this image today, and this is the card that we're making. I have paired it with two die sets because it's a standalone stamp set. It does not have any dies. It's not part of a bundle. And it is located in our new annual catalog, 2022 to 2023 annual catalog, so that you can find that there. If you go to my online store, inkyhandswarmhearts.com, and click on Shop with Me, it'll take you to my store. And once you're there, you can search in the search for In the Moment, and that's how you'll find the stamp set. But this stamp set is just, I just think it's so pretty. And so all of my cards that I've made with it, all of my projects are dedicated to my daughter. So we're also using this really cool word die set called Amazing Thanks. So we're going to use the thanks that's out of it. There's two thanks. There's the regular one, and then there's a backing. I just used the regular one. The words are thanks, amazing, you, and R that are in this little die set. So it's a good one. And then this one is called Scalloped Contour Dies, and I use it all the time. So it goes with a bundle. There's a stamp set that goes with it, but I use it constantly as a standalone stamp set just for these awesome rectangle scallops. And I am going to show you how to take this rectangle scallop and alter it to be the background for this image. So we're going to be using this one today. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. I've already die cut this one for us, so let's go ahead and get started, and we can work on our card. There's going to be quite a bit of coloring with the blends today. We are going to be using a few colors. So let me grab my blends. I have a nice little package of them over here to the side off camera. So let me grab the colors that I need. One of the things that I do as I'm coloring is I make myself, just with scraps that I have sitting around on my desk, a little template that tells me what colors I've used to create the things that I've done, so that when it's time to recreate them again, I can easily do so. So we are going to be using Pool Party. We're going to be using Dark Petal Pink and Light Flirty Flamingo. And we are going to be using some of the natural tones. We're going to be using, from the Natural Tone series, we're going to be using 900 for her arms and feet. And we are going to be using the deep, one from the deep pack for the windowsill here, and to add a little bit of highlight to her hair. And then we are also going to be using from the medium pack for this ledge here. And I also used it a little bit on her cup. So that's going to be fun. And then, of course, our Balmy Blue, which is going to be her jeans. So I am excited for what we are going to be working on. So let's go ahead and get started now that I have everything I need in front of me, and we can start on this really fun project. So the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and stamp our image. So this piece here, let me give you the dimensions. The main card is 4 1/4 by 11, and it is a long, I've cut the cardstock the long way. So see how it's long and skinny with the score line is at 5.5 inches. This piece that we're using is a piece of basic white cardstock, and it measures 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. So it's a square here. And we are going to go ahead, I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper. I always keep that in front of me because I use it so much just to make sure that I don't get anything on my surface. We're going to be using the Memento ink pad. And I like to ink my larger stamps by putting the pad right to the stamp rather than the stamp to the pad. That way I know that it's nice and inked up, that all my areas have been covered. And then let's go ahead and stamp her right here in the center. I'm going to bring her down a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. But I think she's good. We're going to center her in that little area here. And then one thing I like to do once I have it nice and secure is I like to move my stamp with my paper a little bit, and that makes sure that I have even pressure everywhere before I lift up. So it's just a tip. You don't have to do it, but it's something that I like to do. So let's go ahead and clean. This is our only stamping today because this is a thank you card. So we're not going to stamp the inside. We're going to leave the inside open for you to write your thank you note. So that cleaner that I use to clean the stamp is our Simply Chamois, and it is super cool. Definitely check it out in my online store. It just uses water to clean our stamps. So we have her going on right here. Like I told you, the piece of cardstock that we're using is 4 1/4 by 11, and it's scored at 5 1/2. This is a piece of Blushing Bride. I'm going to go ahead and meet my corners together and then use my bone folder to push that score line down. And that is going to be the base for our card. I'm going to glue this piece right here on the front. And this is from our host pack of paper. So if you place an order of $150 or more, you get host benefits. They're called Stampin' Rewards. And you can choose for that this pack of paper. It's a really cool pack of paper. There's 48 sheets in the pack. You can see the back side there. And they're beautiful colors. It's called Design a Daydream. And I have actually used it this week for most of my projects. Not every single one has it, but the ones that have designer series paper, I've chosen this DSP to use. So we're gonna go ahead and add this layer here. I cut it a little bit short because I didn't want to waste this DSP when it was just going to be cut off the bottom end. So we're going to join this at the folded seam because it's going to cover the whole front of our card. So make sure that it meets at the top, and then go ahead and press it down onto your card, and we'll let that adhere while we're coloring our girl. And you can see I left a little bit off because this card, when it opens, you can see the inside of the card. So we're going to cut that away with our same scalloped contour dies, which, like I said, is one of my favorite dies. So not only are we using this rectangle, but we're going to use this large scallop, which is what cuts this portion here out of the bottom. So I'm just going to put that to the side as well. So while this is setting, let's go ahead and color our little girl on our piece here. So I'm going to start with her jeans, and I'm going to start with the light balmy blue, and I'm just going to color the whole pair of jeans, and I'm using the bullet tip. I just like the control it gives me, so I use the bullet much more than the brush. So there are her jeans. Those are colored completely. Now I'm going to use and go back over the top of them a little bit on these lines that the artist has given us. But then I'm going to come back in with my dark balmy blue, and I'm going to go over those lines once more. So I'm going to do her waistband here, her pocket. I'm going to go over this little like fold where her legs are cinched like that, and it has that. And then I'm going to also put some highlight where I feel like there would be some shadow. And I'm going to come down here I'm going to add a little bit of dark. I'm going to put a little bit more right here at her waist, but I am very happy with that. And then I'm going to go back over the top. This time I'm going to use the brush tip. And that just blends that color that I just put into the piece. So there are her jeans all done. Okay, let's work on her top. So I used 2 colors for her top. I used dark petal pink, and I also used light flirty flamingo, and I blended them together. So you don't have to blend the same colors like how I just did light balmy blue and dark balmy blue. You can actually blend 2 different colors together to get the color that you want. Okay, so I'm also going to do her mug in this color. So there's her little top. Now I'm going to come in with light flirty flamingo, which is quite a bright pink, and since this is a muted pink, this blushing bride, that's why I chose to start with the petal pink dark first. So I'm just going to fill in over the top, and I'm blending those 2 colors together. And what it does is it mutes that color because it has another color underneath. It's not quite as bright. And then I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go over those artist lines. And then I'm going to take the dark flirty flamingo. And just like I did with the denim jeans, I'm going to highlight these areas that the artist gave us that show the creases from her body. And I'm also just going to go around and add just a little bit more dimension to her. What do you guys think so far? Let's go ahead and do her skin now. So I'm using SU 900, which is part of the light natural tones blends. And it's there's one a little bit lighter called the 1000, SU 1000, that's in that pack. You get 2 markers in each pack. And you can blend them together to get even a different color skin tone, which is like how I showed you that I blended those 2 colors together there as well. So once those dry, I might do a little bit of highlighting there. I'm going to get this area of her back as well. I forgot it on this one, but I'm going to add that because her shirt's kind of lifted up a little bit in the back. And then for her hair, I'm using from the dark blends. I'm using from the medium and the dark. So this medium one is from the 500-600 series. And I'm using that for her hair and for this section here that she's sitting on her little window seat. So it's not just for skin, you can use it for lots of things. And I love having these options. I also use this to highlight her cup a little, to change it a little bit of color. And then I'm going to use this darker color here on these pieces. And this is from the Deep pack. This one's 200, so it comes with the 100 and the 200. We're going to go ahead and find all the window pieces. We're going to fill those in, and then I'm also going to do this line along the bottom, this section here. And I'm going to highlight her hair a little bit. So I'm going to start with the medium number 500, SU 500. I'm going to start there and get her hair going. And once I'm happy with how I filled that in, I'm going to come back in with the Deep, and I'm just going to follow these lines that the artist gave us to form her hair, and that gives her kind of that two-toned look in her hair, which I think is really nice. Now her pillows, I'm going to show you how I did those. I'm going to bring those up to the camera. So those are paper pieced. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my scrap piece of paper. I'm going to bring that in here. And I have another piece of this same background paper. I've just cut a small piece. And I'm going to ink up this area of the stamp that has the pillows. So there it is. Just that's all we need is that one section that has the pillows. And then I'm going to lay that onto this piece, and I'm going to stamp that portion onto my designer series paper. So there's her pillows. Okay, I'm going to clean the stamp real quick while we're letting that dry. And then what we're going to do is we are going to cut with our paper snips around the pillows. We're going to cut right on that line there, right on that dark line. So you're not going to leave a little border around it. You're going to cut right along that dark line that the artist drew of these pillows. And there's another little section of pillow right here. It's like there's 2 pillows. So right there. And then there's another piece in this corner. We're going to come back and do that. So we're going to start with this one. We're going to work our way down. So there's this set of pillows right here. Okay. And let's do that little corner right here with this part. Again, you're going to just follow right along those artist's lines there. And you're going to cut your little pillow out. I don't know if you guys have ever done this before, but it's really fun. So then that little piece is going to get glued there. So I'm going to use some wet glue. And they are kind of smaller pieces, so I'm probably going to pull my tweezers out. So let's get those ready. So I'm going to lift this up here. Let's get this white paper out of the way. We'll put her on my... And I'm just going to put some adhesive on, like if I'm coloring, only with the glue. We're going to start with this piece, and I'm going to insert that pillow right there. I'm just going to make sure that it adheres right in the spot where it needs to go. We'll do this one. It's a little bit easier from this side. There we go. I'm going to turn it and make sure that it lines up. That looks pretty awesome. What do you guys think? Now the last step is to do the background, and I just did a really light coat of Pool Party. I don't even know if you can see it. It's our light Pool Party. And I'm just going to do a really pale. I'm going to go through each of these panes one at a time. And I'm needing to get a new Pool Party marker. Mine are getting low there. They are not that juicy, so it takes a little bit of patience. But I'm definitely putting Pool Party blends on my next order because I'm just running low on that color. I do use Pool Party so much. I use it to highlight a lot of things. So we're going to fill in all of these little panes. And we'll work our way around the pillow here, even when where there isn't. And it's just going to give you that light color, kind of like through the window, so that it's not so stark white like our paper is. So now we're going to work on our frame for this piece. Okay. So let me get all my markers, all my blends out of our way. I didn't actually need that tweezer. So we're going to do 2 things. We're going to work on our frame and we're going to cut this piece. So I'm going to bring out my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So give me a second to get that in place. I need to use the big one. So it is coming out. It's a little bit hard to get in camera. but hopefully I will position it good enough that you can see. So we're going to use the platform, which is plate number 1. And then we're going to use plate number 2 because we're using the steel dies. And then this is my well-loved plate number 3. You can see how I cut on it very often. And then we're going to start with our cardstock here. I'm going to put it in from this side. Okay, and this is where we want our piece, our long border piece, to cut our scallop. And I want it to be even, so I want to kind of line up my scallop piece so the same amount of dips are on either side. Like this little piece dips down and there's a little piece left over. So I'm going to use, you can see these pieces I have on here. This is our, well, not our, it's just some washi tape. And I'm using it just to keep this die from wiggling. And I'm going to place it down and I'm going to go ahead and send it through. I like to hold the top to keep it nice and steady when I get that pressure there. And that crack sound is normal. There's nothing wrong, nothing happened. It's just part of the process. So I'm going to take off the washi tape now. Very carefully because I don't want to rip my paper. So I'm going to be gentle. There's one. Let's get the other one off. Come on. There we go. So there's my washi tape. And then this piece comes off. This we're going to discard. And then this die is finished. Let me close this so you can see. And there is our cool border along the bottom. It's not so pretty. Okay, now we're going to do our turn the rectangle into a square. We're going to alter it into a square. Now, if you look here, on this side, we have 2 kind of larger scallop pieces. And then inside, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 smaller ones. They're not as big and bubbly as the corners. So we're going to take our die and we're going to lay it onto this piece. And we are going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we want to stop at that 7th piece because we want to then add this bubble section on that side. And it's going to make sense in a minute. It probably doesn't make sense right now. So I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to grab a piece of washi tape, just a small one. And I'm going to hold that down on that side. Now, when I place my cutting plate, my number 3, the second one on top, I'm going to make sure that it goes into the machine. I'm going to bring this more over so you guys can see. And I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to put my plate at the edge of that little bubble, like right where it dips down. I'm going to stop it right there. That means it won't cut anything on the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the 7th one. I'm going to place it down. And it's right there in that dip. So I'm going to push it into the machine now. And I'm going to start cranking my machine. I'm going to hold on to it until it gets in there. I'm going to move it down so we can watch it come out the other side. Whoops. And see, it does do that flinging because it's not all the way down for the pressure. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lift our piece, okay? And we are going to flip it around. We are going to want that bubble to complete. I have a little piece of washi tape stuck on here. There we go. So we want, see that nice large bubble there? We want that on this other side. So we are going to match this up so that it lines up and it actually fits really securely in there. Now we just want to cut this bubble and we want to put the plate right here on there. So let's go ahead and put this down. I want to make sure that my washi tape is holding it into place. And now when I put my plate in here, I'm going to put it in from the other side. Okay, I only want it to cut right that one small place right from that dip, right where that die dips. So I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to start cranking it through. I'm holding on to it. And now I can feel the pressure. And there, that little sound is the snap sound. It's normal because the plate is getting pressed through. And when I pull that apart, there is my piece. Now I didn't quite get it all the way down there, but I can snip that. This one worked. I guess it shifted a little bit on there. But that's how I get a square out of my rectangle die. So I'm gonna put my washi tape back onto my machine. So this is the die we used. And so there is how I got my square. Here is my piece, my leftover piece. And that was just a scrap that I used. So let's go ahead and move my die cut machine out of the way, and we will finish assembling this card. All the hard parts have been done. Okay. Here's our card again. Here's our piece that we cut with the scallop. I have my 2 dies that I have to put away. All right, so I'm sitting back down again. Sorry, my chair is a little squeaky. So this is our piece. We're gonna put our girl on top of it. If I can find her. Oh, here, I moved her off to the side. So she is gonna get placed right here. Now you can see that she overhangs just slightly on this edge. So I'm just gonna bring my trimmer in, and you can use your regular trimmer. I just have this small one. I keep it on my desk for just any kind of small cutting that I have to do. So I just want to double check that she fits in the dots there. And now, oh, maybe a tiny bit more. I'm gonna take it off this side this time. There we go. So now that I have her ready, I'm gonna go ahead and attach her down onto this piece, and I'm gonna use my wet glue to do that. Let me move these dies out of my way. So let's bring in my mat. See why I use the mat? I just went off the mat, and I'm really dangerous with this wet glue. See, that's why I use it. That's why I use this mat, because I make a mess all the time. All right, so we're gonna place her in that little set of dotted lines there. Perfect. Press her down. And then this will dry, and I can rub it right off of my mat, so it's perfect. Let's go ahead and put some dimensionals on the back while she's drying there. I'm gonna put 1 in each corner, and then I'm gonna put 1 in the middle, so that she'll be ready to be attached onto my card. Now, the word thanks, I've already die cut that at a pool party. Isn't that so pretty? And so we are going to put some pieces on the back of it. Now, when you use your mini glue dots, these are them. This one's almost finished. As you can see, I just have a last row here. You have this wide border that's left. And what I like to do is I like to use that wide border to cut thin pieces. So I'm going to take my scissor and I'm going to bring it in here. And I'm just going to cut a bunch of really narrow, skinny strips here. Just a few. Okay. So what I'm going to do is one at a time, I'm going to lift those up. And I'm going to use those to raise up these letters. Now I don't need to put any at the top because see how it overlaps my border, and this is already going to be lifted. So I don't need to have a dimensional here or else it'll be lifted on an angle. So I just want to put it on all the lower pieces, and the letters that go up, like the H here and the K and part of the T, we don't need to put that up near the top of that. We just need to keep it near the bottom because we're just going to use some wet glue there. So you see these little strips come in handy. I love that we can use all of our dimensionals. So I'm just going to lay those onto my words, which will help to raise it up. I think I have one here for the S. I'm going to try and wiggle this one. The cool thing is dimensionals are pliable, so you can kind of move them around. And then I need to do the other side of that A. Let's see if I can get this one in here. The backing wants to come off on me, so I'm just going to go ahead and let it stick to my finger. There we go. All right. And oh Lord, now I have that piece stuck to me. Okay, there we go. So I have a couple pieces left in that center. I'll just use them on another card. That should be enough. I'm pretty sure that that should be good. So I could cut, I guess, one of them in half. Let's see if I can pull one off and cut it in half, because I don't need it quite this long. Because I have the top of my S, which is small, right here. And then I have the top, or not the top, this middle section of the end that is a short piece. Okay, so now that's done. So we have all of our backings. Let's go ahead and assemble our card. We're going to use our Take Your Pick tool. You guys know how much I love the Take Your Pick tool. We're going to pull the backs off of our main focal piece. And let's go ahead and attach her onto our card. About there. I just think she's so pretty. This is such a cool card. And then we're going to pull the backs off of these. And sometimes they're hard to get off when they're skinny like this, but you just work your way around and pull them. And if they won't come off, you can kind of start them with your nail here. But I hate that the backs get staticky, so I always try and use my Take Your Pick tool if I can. If they want to be ornery, though, you just have to use your fingers or another, like a tweezer or something like that. And they seem to want to be ornery today. So hopefully I will be able to get all the backs off and get them in the trash and not on my craft room floor. Whoopsie, that one wasn't even pressed down good, so the whole thing came up on me. There we go. One more. All right, guys, we're at the finale of our card. If you've been sticking with me, thank you so much. I appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button so that you can get notifications of when I post new videos. And if you want to share this to your Pinterest, you can save it on a board and come back and know how to make the card. All right, so before I stick it down, I'm going to use a little bit of wet glue. And I'm just going to put a dot up here on the top of the K and on the top of the H and on the top of the T, because those pieces are actually going to touch this frame and I want them to have something to stick to. So we will hold this little thanks, get it in place, and when we're happy with our placement, I'm going to press down. And there is our thanks. Isn't that so pretty? Now these are brand new to the to the new annual catalog. So definitely check them out. They're called Solid Faceted Gems. Look at how sparkly they are. And they have this really pretty pool party color, which I think is so awesome. So I'm going to use the other end of my Take Your Pick tool, the putty end. And I'm going to grab one of these guys. I'm going to grab a small one. Put it together, and then I'm going to grab one more small one and we'll put it down here. I really love how well all of our embellishments match our paper, which matches our designer series paper, which matches our inks. The color coordination makes you look like an artist without even trying. So it's so easy to look good when you use our products. So there is my card. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching me put it together. Again, like I said, if you've never subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I would really greatly appreciate it. And you can share this video to your Pinterest or to Facebook. If you have a friend that you think would be interested, you can send it to them. So just hit that share, and then when you hit share, you can choose where you want to share it. If you share it to your Pinterest, you can make yourself a board, and then it could be videos that you want to come back and work on the projects. So thanks again for watching. I greatly appreciate you. I'm very grateful if you stayed till the end. Check out my playlist. Definitely check out my blog, inkyhandswarmhearts.com. I do blog on a daily basis, so there's always content on there, and there's a lot more than there is on YouTube. So definitely check out my blog. If you're interested in any of these products, they are all linked in the description below, and if you click on those links, it'll take you to my online store where you can purchase them. I appreciate your support, and this is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping, guys!